What happens when a veteran actor known for his sharp humor walks into a talk show hosted by someone who wants viral moments at any cost? The result is TV chaos no one expected. What went down on The View became one of the most uncomfortable moments daytime television has ever seen. Before we dig into this unbelievable story, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us the most awkward TV moment you've ever witnessed, because this one will top them all. It was supposed to be a simple promotional interview. Russell Crowe had done hundreds of talk shows over his long career, promoting everything from giant historical epics to small emotional dramas. The View, with its loud mix of co-hosts and strong opinions, seemed like just another stop on the promotion tour for his newest film. But Joy Behar had something entirely different in mind. And what started as a normal chat about acting turned into something much heavier. The vibe in the studio was already tense even before Crowe walked out. Behind the scenes, production assistants whispered about Behar's mood that morning. She had arrived earlier than usual, pacing around her dressing room and muttering about making this interview stand out. Ratings from the previous week had dipped, and network executives wanted something that would spark conversation. Behar, who never backed away from stirring drama, saw this as her moment to shake things up. When Crowe stepped onto the set, the audience cheered. He smiled, waved, and looked completely relaxed, unaware of the storm waiting for him. The other co-hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Sarah Haynes, and Alyssa Farah Griffin, greeted him warmly and started asking about his movie with genuine interest. But Joy Behar sat in her chair, arms folded, watching him like someone waiting for the right moment to strike. "Russell, welcome back to The View," Whoopi began with her usual calm tone. "Tell us about this new film. It seems really interesting." Crowe got comfortable and began explaining the story, talking about his character and the filming challenges. His deep voice filled the studio as he described the months of preparation and the emotional weight of the role. The audience was hooked. Even the crew seemed to lean in to listen. "The thing about this character," Crowe said, "is that he represents something we've lost today, a sense of honor. Doing the right thing even when it costs you. I think people are craving that kind of real heroism again." That's when Behar pounced. "Oh, please," she cut in, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Real heroism coming from someone who pretends for a living? Let's talk about real bravery, like standing up for women's rights outside of the movies." The room froze. The other hosts exchanged nervous looks. Crowe's expression tightened, but he stayed polite. "I'm not sure I follow," Crowe said calmly. "Are you saying actors can't have opinions on moral courage?" Behar leaned forward like a challenger in a debate. "I'm saying it's easy to talk about honor when you're reading someone else's script. But in the real world, where's that same energy? Where were you during the women's marches? Where's your voice now on reproductive rights?" "Well," Crowe said, still composed, "I didn't realize my visit today required a political test. I thought we were here to talk about the movie." "Everything is political," Behar snapped. "Your silence says a lot. Your privilege is showing." The audience murmured. Whoopi tried to step in, but Behar waved her off, fully committed to the confrontation. "Joy," Crowe said gently, "you're assuming a lot about me, and I'm not sure those assumptions are correct." "Oh really?" Behar shot back. "Then prove it. Tell us all the causes you fight for. Because from where I'm sitting, you're just another privileged white man coasting on fame without standing for anything real." Sarah Haynes looked like she wanted to disappear. Alyssa stared at the table. Crowe's eyes narrowed slightly. He wasn't angry, he was analyzing. "You know, Joy," he said, "you seem to think public displays of politics are more important than private actions. That's an interesting belief." "Don't turn this on me," Behar snarled. "I've been fighting for progressive causes since before you were even famous. I've risked my career for my beliefs." "Have you?" Crowe tilted his head. "Or have you just figured out how to profit from being outraged? Because there's a big difference between real activism and staged anger meant to boost ratings." The room went silent again. Behar's face reddened. She had expected him to fold, not challenge her entire on-air persona. "How dare you?" she whispered. "How dare you question my sincerity? You play pretend for money." "Playing pretend," Crowe repeated calmly. Is that how you describe acting? Then what would you call what you do every day? A performing outrage for cameras? Because if we're talking about authenticity, maybe we should look at all performances here. Behar looked stunned, her mouth opening and closing without sound. Crowe had landed a direct hit, but she refused to retreat. I speak truth to power, she yelled. I call out hypocrisy every day, including yours. Crowe leaned back, relaxed. Truth to power? Tell me, when was the last time you challenged someone with actual power? Not a guest who can't push back, but someone who could risk your job if you questioned them. Behar froze. Everyone knew the answer. I challenge powerful people all the time. She tried, but her voice was unsteady. Do you? Crowe asked softly. Or do you wait until they're already in trouble, then jump in to look brave? There's a difference between bravery and convenience. Whoopi tried again to steer things back. Let's talk about your film. But Behar cut her off. You don't know anything about my values. Actually, Crowe said, pulling out his phone slowly. I learned a lot this morning. While you were planning your ambush, I did a little research. The color drained from Behar's face. What are you doing? She asked nervously. Oh, just looking at your record, Crowe said, scrolling. For someone who cares so much about women's rights, you were completely silent when your network covered up its own harassment issues. Not a single tweet. Not a single statement. That's not fair, she protested. There were things happening behind the scenes. I'm sure, Crowe said. But your silence then versus your outrage now. I saw broken bar. Interesting. She swallowed hard. You twist everything, she cried. Do I? Crowe said. Let's look at context then. You attacked me for not being activist enough. But when your own record is held up to the same light, suddenly you want understanding. This is ambush journalism, she shouted. Crowe laughed lightly. Ambush journalism? Joy, you ambushed me the second I sat down. The only difference is, I came prepared. I don't need to defend myself to you, she said weakly. No, Crowe replied, but you do have to defend yourself to your viewers. They trust you. They think you're always genuine. They deserve to know whether that's true. Behar's hands shook. She looked to her co-hosts, but they avoided eye contact. No one wanted to join this disaster. You're just angry because I called you out, she whimpered. Called me out on what? Crowe asked. You made assumptions. I corrected them. Then you accused me of proving your point by defending myself. It's a clever tactic. Attack someone, and when they respond, say their response proves you were right. That's not what I did. It's exactly what you did, Crowe said. And you've done it before. He held up his phone again. Here you are last month doing the same thing to an actress who disagreed with you. The studio was silent. Behar looked like she might faint. I think we should take a break, Whoopi said tightly. No, Crowe replied calmly. Joy wanted a conversation about authenticity. Let's finish it. Behar's eyes darted to the cameras. Millions were watching her lose control. Her tough persona was cracking. This isn't fair, she whispered. Fair, Crowe repeated softly. Let's talk about what's fair. He leaned forward. Is it fair to ambush guests to look powerful? Is it fair to judge people you've never met? Is it fair to tear people down while pretending to be morally superior? Each question hit her like a punch. You wanted to talk about privilege, Crowe said. So let's talk about it. You have the privilege of this platform. You get to attack people who can't respond honestly without risking their careers. And you've used that privilege to become exactly the kind of bully you claim to fight. Stop a broken bar, she whispered, tears forming. You asked about my activism, Crowe said softly. Would you like to know what I actually do? Behar didn't respond. I support education programs for poor kids in rural Australia, he said. I've donated millions to women's shelters without announcing it online. I mentor actors struggling with addiction. But you don't see me bragging about it, because real compassion doesn't need an audience. The audience began murmuring. The difference between us, Joy? Crowe asked. You perform activism. I practice it. You're just saying this to look good, she tried. Crowe shook his head. If I wanted to look good, I'd sit here and let you insult me. That's the easy path. But honesty matters more than appearance. Behar searched for some defense. People love this show. Do they love the show? Crowe asked. Or do they love the chaos? Because you don't build people up anymore. You tear them down. And somewhere along the line, you forgot why you started. For the first time, Behar looked genuinely shaken, like she remembered the younger version of herself who had once cared about meaningful conversations. I came here to talk about a film, Crowe said sadly. A film about redemption and hope. Instead you turned it into this. And that says a lot about what conversations in this country have become. Behar was crying now. Silent tears. Her on-air identity had cracked wide open. Joy, Crowe said softly, it's not too late to be better. You can change. You can choose understanding over attack. The question is, will you? He stood, adjusted his jacket, and walked toward the curtain. Ladies, he said to the other co-hosts, thank you for having me. I hope your viewers think about what they've seen today. And with that, he left. Behar sat frozen, staring at the empty chair. The cameras finally stopped. But the damage was impossible to undo. In less than half an hour, her carefully built persona had been undone by someone who simply refused to follow her script. The other hosts sat motionless, knowing they had just witnessed something that would be talked about for years, though not proudly. What should have been a simple movie interview became a lesson in what happens when someone finally stands up to a bully. So, what do you think about this intense showdown? Have you ever seen someone completely outmatched on live TV?